Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal day. Let's take a quick look here at Solana, see what's going on. Just want to kind of open it up here, let you know there is a CME gap below the price action between 161 and 163. It's pretty small, almost already there, but just want to let you know that is present. We'll look at that here in a minute. I also want to say congrats to our community members for some awesome profits this weekend. There is a promo going on right now, by the way, between now and the end of August. We actually have a promotion for our trade alerts, signals, and community there. It's about 50% off for the lifetime of your membership. So those are for new members only, but just know that is available there. But anyways, XRP, BNB, all with about 50 to 60% profit on average. ETH, same thing with Dogwif, Hat, and what was there? Another one here? Sui? No, Sui is the only one that that we actually took a small amount of profit and the price ended up ripping the other direction. So we took a small short, got in, got out, and that's kind of Bob's your uncle, the whole thing there. Anyways, what I want to talk about here today is back-end liquidation. This is the important thing to recognize. There was a lot left above the price that has been fully swept here, right there at 162. So keep in mind, previous liquidation ranges are often retested as new supports because they accumulate at previous resistance or support ranges. So we can presume that 160 should hold as a support if Bitcoin ends up pulling back. So I'm fairly well interested at this point from a bird's eye view of an entry in the 160 to 162 range, primarily where that CME gap is formed. Same thing here as well with liquidation delta. It's super high. Bitcoin's the same way. It's at 35 billion. We're at 4 billion here for Solana. It's rare for us to see anything over 5. So good news is we're getting that high point. The price action continuation going higher is greater, but we also want to recognize too, this becomes overextended for too long. We maintain this over the weekend. There's probably going to be a pretty significant dump. So just be aware of that. That's a pretty common occurrence in trading. All that being said, looking here at local liquidation, this last month's worth liquidation, open interest, I apologize. 155 is that major area of open interest here locally. What I want to do is take a look at the last 7 days here, because obviously a lot's happened in the last week's worth of trading, and see where our open interest areas lie. 153. Okay, so there's really not a whole heck of a lot there outside of that low to mid 150s. Okay, so we got support based on open interest at 150 to 155. We've got our local high at 160 as a new potential low, previous high. So those are two areas to kind of consider or pay attention to if you're looking for any type of trade position here. So take a look at this pullback. We can see Bitcoin's in low 117K range. By the way, we're short at 118 on Bitcoin just as kind of a hedge against the market because I think we're overextended and likely to pull back further. Once more, that's going to be a tight short. I don't recommend shorting the market right now. If you want to watch my Bitcoin video, you'll know why I considered shorting. Today's a Friday. It's profit-taking weekend coming up here. So much profit left on the table. I think a lot of coins will pull back, but a lot of them are just going to pull back to their local support. So we've already identified 155 roughly and 160 are those two key levels to pay attention to. So specifically local high of 155, most recent macro high of 160, just something to kind of be mindful of. All right. So I sound like a broken record there. Apologize. Just trying to make sure that you understand what's best practice to look for in situations like this. While it's never perfect, it's always consistently changing. It's important to recognize though that there are previous highs, retests, new lows is a very common occurrence, and open interest is also something people fail to look at or just don't have the tools necessary to do that. So just keep that in mind. So daily time frame is looking pretty darn bullish outside of the 200-day SMA. It's right there at 165. So that's that local resistance, so to speak. Now I have trouble saying that SMAs are resistance levels. They're really not, but they are also areas of confluence. And if they have consistency with it, then likelihood of pullback or continuation is higher. All that being said, what I'm getting at here is that there's still more room for growth here for Solana. So I'm not convinced that this is our top. I think we're more likely to continue to run. So if we get lucky with an entry in the 155 to 160 range, then that would be a solid consideration for long because we have more meat left on the bone here where Bitcoin looks to be short-term topped out, right? And all depending on how Bitcoin dominance continues to pull back here. But if it does, like we're seeing, then I think we're going to continue to see a surge from altcoins. So I'm speculating we're going to see a sideways and down from Bitcoin this weekend with alts going sideways and up. That's my speculation here. Just based on how things are performing. That's exactly how it's going right now. Is this going to change in 24 to 48 hours? Certainly. That's how crypto market is. You have to adjust with the trades or adjust your trades with the market, essentially. All that said, we see some overextension here a little bit. Price action kind of wicking out here. This is a gravestone type of doji candle, basically implying that we may see a short-term correction. It's all relevant, specific to Bitcoin though, which I do think Bitcoin is going to pull back a little bit, but I really don't think altcoins are going to dump very hard. All that said here, we can see we're still up over 70 on the RSI, generally not a great sign to consider shorting. I would recommend waiting for a better entry on a long than shorting at this point. That's just kind of the common narrative for the market right now. So just be very careful doing that. All that said, though, I mean, really, I don't see a whole heck of a lot of problems here outside of this pretty significant correction based on Bitcoin doing so as well, right? So it's just kind of one of those things that we're looking at here. So Solana, key takeaway here is that 160 to 155 would be a good consideration for entry. We have a support zone here, just based on previous highs working as new lows. There's a decent amount of open interest here or point of control at 157 outside of this obvious area at 150. So averaging in between 150 and 160 just seems like a very logical thing to do at this point. That's if we see that. I do think we will see it just based on the expectation of Bitcoin pulling back to the 116K range. Because if you didn't notice this or catch my analysis, Bitcoin does have a CME gap here between what, 114.4 and 115.6. So right there in that area there, that's kind of what we're looking at. So just bear in mind that that's there, as well as fair value gaps for Bitcoin. So it would be naive to just take everything to the moon right now, but I think after a small little pullback, it makes a lot of sense to accumulate at support. Okay. All right, that's kind of where we're at there. I'll highlight this in our playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. That'll all be available for you there. It's over here if you're not familiar. And I hope you all have a great rest of the day. Really deeply appreciate you being an awesome part of my life. Don't forget, of course, there is a 50% promo between now and the end of August for premium memberships. So check that out. I had a lot of questions, people waiting to register. So it's all available for you now. Link down below if you're curious. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, though. Either way, have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for your time. We'll see you next one. Take care.